I always get my exercise before the show.
Oh my God. I
Shoot,
couldn't even,
well.
I couldn't fit my things on because of my hat.
Yeah, I know. We're both discovering this with these headphones we're wearing now. They do create
Yes.
little problems. The B-52s, I saw them at the Hollywood Bowl a few years ago. A lot of fun.
Well, let's see here. What do we got going on here? We got
It was
Chrome.
80s
Okay.
night.
Oh, it was 80s night. Well,
80s night at the Hollywood Bowl, yeah.
well, welcome everybody to Taco
Welcome.
Tuesdays with the
Happy to
great
have you here.
and powerful Chuck Dransfield. The only rule for Taco Tuesday is that nothing is serious, and by golly, you are here to have fun and be light. I am not
Yes.
going to let anybody rain on our parade, Chuck.
Oh, gosh, no. Gosh, no. Hey, we'll be on that tugboat in the New York Harbor like Barbara Streisand with her yellow roses,
Yeah, on a
No
slow
one's going
boat
to
to
rain on my
China.
parade,
On a slow boat to China. I hear rents are pretty cheap there right now. So it's but
In
of
China?
course, yes,
Yeah.
but the houses are falling apart. So I don't know.
Well, you
So
can't have everything,
we are grieving today, as you know. I could have played the funeral march, but as you know, Red Lobster, the great and powerful Red
Yeah.
Lobster, everybody who could like, subscribe, join the
Yes.
funeral, actually.
Shedding tears.
Yes, while we get together and we talk about the death of the Red Lobster and its endless mountains of shrimp. Have you ever
Endless
been,
shrimp.
Chuck? Yes, have you ever
I
been?
believe maybe once or twice in my life I have frequented the Red Lobster. It's never
Yes,
been one of my go-to places,
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I mean, come on. Do you remember those buttered biscuits with grated
Oh,
cheddar cheese in them?
God, yes. Yes. Yes, I do remember those. Oh, I could go for those right now.
Yes. You know what they remind me of? They remind me of the Italian place. What is it? The not the
Olive
spaghetti
Garden?
factory.
Are you
The
thinking
all
of
Thank
Olive Garden?
you.
Yeah.
Aren't they similar? Aren't they similar?
Well, they might even be owned by the same chain for all I know, but there are kind of similarities in how they're run, the concept. And of course, if you know anyone who is a native Italian, they hate that restaurant. They think it's the biggest joke. It's like a bastardization of Italian cooking, but a lot of Americans like it, just like Red Lobster.
Well, some people, like if you go to the Vatican, there are places to buy pizza, and I swear it tastes just like American pizza. And I think that they do that deliberately because many of the
Yeah,
people that visit the Vatican are not Italian.
yeah, exactly. American tourists, so they want to cater to them and their expectations. I never
Yeah.
thought about that, but you're right. That probably goes on. But
So what's your
I was
feeling
going to
about
stay
the
with Oh, I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you.
Yeah, no,
You were
I was
saying.
gonna say, what do you think that it says about the economy that all of these fast food places and inexpensive restaurants are going under?
Well, it is interesting. I'm wondering if this is a residual of the pandemic, for one thing. This could be just a carryover. I'm also wondering if it could have to do with increasing minimum wages for workers because those expenses get passed on to the consumers typically. And there have been complaints across the board with fast food restaurants, McDonald's, Burger King, what have you, about how fast food has become almost as expensive as going just to a regular restaurant and having a decent meal. So it's
Mhm.
taking a toll. Like a lot of fast food places have been cutting their prices and publicizing the fact they're doing that. Um, but also with Red Lobster, it was literally their endless shrimp. I read they lost millions and millions of dollars because of people's gluttony. People
Well,
taking advantage of that endless shrimp.
well, let's face facts. I mean, who can say no to endless shrimp? Would you say
Well,
no
I
to endless
know I
shrimp?
couldn't do it. It's like the time my sister and I went to a sushi restaurant at the Grove, and they had a lunch
Uh-huh.
special, all you can eat for $20. Literally, all you could eat. You know, where they put the little dishes on the conveyor belt, and the
Oh,
rule was you
no.
could only take 3 things at a time. Well, anyway, my sister and I, we were thinking we need to be like the Romans and the gluttony and go in the bathroom and throw up or something, because we were so stuffed. And sure enough, that
Oh,
restaurant went out of
wow.
business within a few months, because I think that $20 lunch special just broke the bank for them. And I guess that's what happened to Red Lobster with their endless shrimp.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
wow. Well, sayonara. You know, they had a great concept, but a couple of lowly shrimp took them out. You know,
Yes,
it was
that's quite a metaphor there.
a couple of
Yeah.
lowly shrimp took them out. Well, you know, the other big news, let me see if I
Yeah.
can get a picture for people. Oh my God. Yes, here it is. You know, is anybody surprised that Trump did not speak at his own trial?
No, no. Probably one of the wisest things he ever could have done. He
Uh-huh.
actually was lawyers, apparently.
Mhm. Were you surprised that Judge Rashan cleared the courtroom yesterday?
I'm glad that he did. I mean, the
Uh-huh.
judge has to, set this tone for the courtroom, show who's in control, and he's not going to tolerate nonsense such as what took
Mhm.
place.
Um, nobody's been able to answer this question, so I guess we'll just open it up to the audience. I know there are attorneys watch our show. They're much smarter than we are, Chuck. Our audience is much smarter than we are, but we have
I'm sure of
teachers,
that.
yes, we have all the smart people here. If any of them know, can he be reprimanded to custody or can he hold off? I mean, can he say, "Wait a minute, I want to appeal and I want to avoid jail while I appeal"? That to me shouldn't be an option. It's like you were found
Yeah.
guilty, felony, you should be taken immediately into custody. You can appeal from a jail cell. So my question, I guess, is uh, can he be reprimanded to custody or can he hold off while he appeals? Can he hold off on jail while he appeals?
That's a good question. I'd like to hear if anyone in our audience knows the answer to that. I'm not sure if he can hold that off with an appeal, or if he'd have to appeal from jail.
Yeah,
What do you think, Whimsy?
I think that I think Trump is in some very serious trouble. I think, you
Yeah.
know, that the fact that they brought I mean, look at the police presence. My God, this is
Yeah.
from today. I mean, you see all the police? They're just
Yeah.
standing by him. You make one frickin' they were ready to apprehend and take him off to prison. Not only
Yes.
him, but
Yes.
evidently his attorney as well, who was on the stand. Who was the person who said, "Strike that," and started ordering people around? Was that Trump's attorney?
I'm not sure. I'm not
Yeah.
sure on that, but that is a chilling photograph
Okay,
when you see them
according
standing
to
over him like that.
yeah, I mean, like, talk about this is a guy who was
Mm.
once the most powerful person on the planet, right? And so
Exactly.
now
Exactly.
to see what has happened to him, that this guy is
Well,
now just surrounded by cops all the way to the door. Look at these
yeah.
cops, they're just waiting to grab him and haul him away. The level of that he must be so disempowered, don't you think?
Well, he is. He is. I just think he may be in denial about that. I think he's quite
Mhm.
delusional, unless the reality is hitting him. But I don't know that he's able to process it. I mean,
When
being able to accept it.
Well, he can appeal, but my question is, can he appeal and, you can appeal, but you still have to go to prison. I mean, people are
Yeah,
sitting in
that's what I'm
jail
wondering.
cells.
Yeah.
So my question is, that makes no sense when I don't understand why other people, including Michael Cohen, went to prison. They appealed certain things and they wanted certain things to be struck out of the
Yeah.
record, but they still, after they were found guilty and sentencing, they were taken into custody.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it's because Trump being a former president. Do you think he'd be given any kind of consideration? Somehow I think
Um,
not.
it depends on the judge.
Yeah. and I'm not so sure this judge is going to be accommodating for anything like that. He seems to be quite tough. But it's just astounding to me. I was reading in the New York Times today that because Trump has secured enough delegates for the Republican convention, the party has no mechanism to nominate anyone else. So the only way anything could be done to take him out would be if he were forced to withdraw after the convention, and then the party could choose another candidate.
Huh. Yeah, that's pretty
that was interesting when I
crazy.
saw that today. I know. Well, it's just that we're in uncharted territory right now. There are no precedents. Our founding fathers certainly did not plan for this. The idea that a convicted felon could be running for president and possibly even from his jail cell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we shall see. We can definitely do some blitzes on it.
Yeah.
On to bigger and more interesting news. It looks like, oops, I keep pushing the wrong thing there. Sorry. I'm sorry, something's setting me off.
Mila?
Have you been keeping? No.
No.
I don't know what it is. Have you been keeping track of the whole Diddy trial and
what's going on? It was the big
this is the
news
latest
story.
thing that's
over the weekend. It was I think it was like the top news story, certainly here locally here in Los Angeles, when that old surveillance video surfaced of him beating and abusing his then girlfriend in the hallway of a hotel. Did you see that? It was just horrific.
Well, I guess, again, this is kind of like opening up the floor to the audience to see what the audience thinks about all of this stuff, because I'm a little bit baffled. And I buy the whole response, because before he was in jail, before any of this happened, didn't he already have a reputation? Weren't people already saying this guy is trouble?
Oh, yes. It was just, this was, I think, the first time an actual video of him in action has surfaced like that. The only thing in his favor was the fact the statute of limitations is up. When he did that, what people are calling a pathetic apology, he basically was confessing. He was admitting it was true. That's what several have pointed out already.
Well, isn't that also why Kobe Bryant had to make a deal? Because when he apologized, he basically said that it had taken place. And that was what put Kobe Bryant in a legal situation. He's like, oh, I'm so upset that she felt that way. So he basically admitted to being in the room, admitted to assaulting her. And at that point, you've got yourself in trouble. Other people have commented that Diddy has like a drug problem, or that he looked like he might have been on drugs. What do you think?
I think that's quite possible. We can't say that with any authority, but I certainly would stand to reason, with that kind of behavior. I mean, it was appalling. I mean, I actually get chills now knowing I have met the man. I've actually stood face to face with him, and now I'm like, ick, knowing what I know about him now.
Well, we've sort of sorry, something's sending me off.
Are you okay there? Yeah, he used to come into our store. Well, he used to come into our store. I don't know if you ever met him, but he was a regular customer. I've told this story several times, how somebody wanted to do a selfie with him. He refused, but he said, please, it's because I just got out of the gym. I'm sweaty. I don't look good. I have no control over photos. Once they're out there, this could be on the internet, so I can't let you take a selfie picture with me. So he did at least explain it. That's the main thing I remember about him more than anything.
Wow.
And he could be a little standoffish, a little aloof, but other than that, I don't really have any directly personal stories to say about him.
I think
I don't know if you ever met him.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I was at a game that he was at. I think I joked with you about the game. What Diddy wants, Diddy gets. At the Lakers game. Sorry, I was choking on something. Okay, so the latest from the amazing Catherine is the other bit of news that's come up. It looks like she is not out walking about, but supposedly she published a recent video. Other people say no, it was taped before, about mental health awareness, particularly mental health for the first 5 to 7 years of childhood development. This is something that I think she started her own foundation to address mental health challenges.
Yeah.
What's your feeling about Catherine these days?
Catherine these days. There was a report on one of the YouTube gossip channels. I think you sent it to me, where there's speculation that she already has moved to the point of just of leaving public life, like she's closed herself off. How do I say it? Isolated. She's isolating herself purposely. Of course, the guise could be that she's doing that to to heal and recover from her cancer and go through all of her therapy. She wants to be
I
left
think
alone,
that's
but yeah.
Yeah, I think
But
that that's
you've
go
speculated.
ahead.
I was just going to say, you have speculated that there's more to this, that she's like being put away, purposely hidden.
Yeah, I think that, I don't think that her and her husband are together anymore. I always get this impression that they've broken up, and
Yeah,
that she's moved on. But she probably still wants to be involved in certain charities. I think that she was genuinely sick. I think that she will recover. I don't think that she
yeah,
is dead. The
yeah,
other thing is that I've noticed is that people get me confused with other readers all the time. Well, you said, actually, no, I didn't. I do think that there was some kind of an emergency, and I do think she got very, very sick. She's very thin.
yeah,
Um, I'm not convinced she has Crohn's disease. You can have diverticulitis that become inflamed, and then what happens is you have to go in and have colon resectioning, which is what it sounds like happened to her. Uh,
yes,
a lot of us have gotten sick just from grief the last couple months. Uh, so I think, in Chinese medicine, grief is a component of the large intestine. If the large
hmm,
intestine is
yeah,
being affected, it's usually a grief aspect. Not always, by the way.
yeah.
Just because it's associated with grief, it doesn't mean that every time your intestine's on the fritz, you're grieving. But it is true, like
Okay.
after October 7th, a lot of people, people couldn't eat. People's intestines were like iron, people literally, so peristalsis stops, all that tension. And I think that if you already have an existing condition, I can see it really getting affected, like diverticulitis. And at a point like that, you have to
Yeah,
do surgical resectioning. So if it got infected, or if the person had sepsis, or if the person was having trouble gaining weight, then all of that could delay recovery.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've always felt
Okay.
like the underlying cause was grief, that this
Yeah,
is not a happy person. Being married is difficult, and to be marrying into a family like that is to be inside of a fishbowl, I think, don't you think?
I think so. I think so. But that's interesting. I've always believed there are emotional causes behind almost any illness in the body. We always talk about everything begins with the gut, lower intestines, the root chakra, your security in the world, how you're taken care of, fear. I think all of that manifests. And we used to see that in our store. We would get so many people in the show business industry coming in with digestive disorders, because when we would ask our questions to get to what was going on, and almost always tremendous stress, anxiety, fear, worry, and that's how it manifested into the body and into the
Yeah.
digestive tract. I mean, I know it's much more complex than just that, but I think it is a variable. So I
Mhm.
do agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, have you gotten a chance to read Lorcan's Bane yet, Chuck?
Well, working on it right now. I'll be ready for when we do our interview. Looking forward to it. It's excellent thus far.
Yeah. Kind of sexy book, isn't it? It's
Hmm.
sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah, sexy, romantic, and very well written. So hopefully everybody can join us on Taco Tuesdays next week. We will be having the amazing Kitty Roxana Connell in our studios, and we'll be talking about our book of the month. That ought to be fun.
I'm going to look forward to it. I look forward to it every month. It's always a treat because when you read a book this extensively, you feel you know the author. And I find often I want to talk to the author. So this is a treat when I actually get to do that. We do these interviews at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
I look
And
forward to it.
we also wanted to announce that we are on summer vacation starting June 21st. We will be out of the studio for 2 weeks, enjoying our rest and what is it? Rest and repass? Is that what they call it?
Rejuvenation,
Yes, I
revivification.
don't know. Yeah, so our last
Right.
show for spring season, for the end of this season, is the 18th.
The 18th.
Yes. And
Yeah.
yes, and then we will have 2 weeks off, the 25th and the 2nd. So you will be free to go play in your garden with your cat or whatever it is you do
She's
during
here
your
right
summer.
now.
Do you plan on doing anything for your summer break?
Oh, I don't know. I have so many things I'm working on right now, trying to get caught up on artwork for people and so forth. So it'll probably be just catch up work more than anything.
Well, you're always working. Every time he
But I
travels,
do
it's
what I
because
love, you know.
well, you travel to work. Every time you're on a plane, it's because you're working. You never really you combine it though, don't you always combine your vacation with your work?
Well, sometimes I do. It all depends on what it is. But I'm doing a lot of things I love, and as long as it feels
Yes.
creatively fulfilling, it doesn't necessarily have to be work.
That's right. That's very true.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead. We'll do the empass prayer. Be sure and share, like, and subscribe if you like what you're seeing, and think about being a member. It really helps Chuck and I continue to have fun with all of you and talk crazy Taco Tuesday nonsense, as they say. So let's do it without further ado. Let's come together and let's do the empass prayer.
The impasse
Okay.
prayer.
All
Yes.
right.
Okay.
Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively we say, Amen.
Amen.
Okay, let's see what people are saying. What are people saying out there, Chuck? Any
What are they
questions or
saying out
comments?
there? Well, Joel Tilson said it is rest and relaxation, R&R. We were searching for words there. Another Wendy said rest and recreation. People are saying they're looking forward to our book interview next week.
Oh,
Someone
very
was asking,
nice.
how did Diddy keep his towel on? And it was pointed out that there are towels sold that way where they do apparently fasten. I guess that's what he had in that video.
Just such drugs can put people in really dark places. Drugs, it's scary stuff.
In all seriousness, yes, I've known several people. I had a roommate once. I had a crystal meth problem. I had to live with it
Oh my
actually. So I know
God.
first. Oh, nightmare! I know firsthand what it does to people, and it is a
Oh my
deadly,
God.
serious thing. Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and do some blitzes. We've got some interesting questions coming in. It looks like Joel Tilson says that there's a rumor that Graceland is foreclosing for real, or is it a fraud? It just seems like so many old things are falling away, old businesses, old
Yeah.
institutions.
Well, they did talk about that on the local news today. Uh, the granddaughter of Elvis Presley, I forget, she's Lisa Marie's daughter, and she left Graceland to her, and she's claiming it's completely fraudulent. That someone is claiming that her mother had taken out loans or something on Graceland, and apparently there's no evidence of that. So this may be all a big false accusation.
So she's claiming that it's false that there's a foreclosure?
Yes. Well, she's claiming the reasons for it are false.
But there
Someone
is a
trying to
foreclosure.
foreclose. I think there has been a formal foreclosure made, but it's being fought, and she feels there is no case.
Oh, yeah, it's being foreclosed. I'm sorry, Chuck, please go ahead. I keep forgetting to let you
Well,
go. Did you get anything on it?
I wasn't. I didn't know we were doing cards on that. I'm
Yes,
so sorry. Let me do
I
something.
apologize.
Oh,
I
you're
apologize.
asking me
I'm
about
doing too
that. I
many
was just
things at
telling you what I
once.
heard
I
on the news,
apologize.
but let me shuffle here and see if anything comes up. Just keep going till something comes out. Okay. Here's something that did jump out. I got the competition card. So I think this is going to be a court case, as I said, between Elvis Presley's granddaughter and people that are attempting this foreclosure on Graceland. We'll see who's telling the truth here. But I get a competition. What are you getting?
Well, according to these cards, they had not paid their taxes. They had taxes going on several years, according to these cards. And
that's
you
why
can see the police or authorities coming in, King of Swords. Here they are shuttering up Graceland. I see them shuttering it up.
Yeah.
So the guy with the sword comes in and shutters Graceland. They didn't pay it looked to me like it was poorly run and that they had not paid. They were delinquent on taxes going back possibly decades. And as a result, there's 6 of Swords. It could be that someone stole the money that was supposed to be going towards back tax. Where is this? In Tennessee? And we can see here 9
Memphis,
of Wands.
Tennessee.
Yeah, 9 of Wands, which is prosecution or jail. So these two together, particularly the fact that this is in the opposition, I think that they're going to go in and shut down Graceland. And it had it could. Yeah, well, what I was going to say is that it's like the best little whorehouse in,
Texas.
the best, when the feds came into that Nevada house and they took over, and women were running out the windows thinking that the tax man was going to come and get them because Uncle Sam owned the cat house at that point. They were just trying to get their taxes back that hadn't been paid by the previous owners.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If I'm not mistaken, isn't Graceland still a highly lucrative tourist destination? It still brings in a lot of money. So I'm wondering if somebody would just take it over, but continue it as the museum that it is for the public.
Well, if they did that, then they would have to pay the back taxes going back over 20 years on the property that the person had not paid. It's in foreclosure, and it looks like decades of unpaid fines and taxes, and they just siphoned the money off the top and reneged on paying their fines, and then the feds came in and bolted them up, and people could be even charged with tax evasion. I don't know who's responsible. I can try and find out how this happened if you guys want me to find out. But
I would imagine if this goes to court, all of this is going to come up. All the sides are going to have a chance to speak. But as it was pointed out, it is awkward with all of the graves that are there. All of the Presley family members, including Elvis Presley, are buried there.
Yeah, it's looking like here. Well, again, the clarification, the police, and then taking the weapons of war. Also, there's a temperance card over the mismanagement of the property, which leads me to think somebody may have had a drug or alcohol problem, was funneling money off due to irresponsible behavior. There was also some hidden documents that were found with the high priestess, and a new beginning is starting for the property in spring of 2025.
Yeah. Whimsy, do you think this lies in fault with Lisa Marie Presley, since she was the owner of Graceland, that maybe it was her mismanagement or her reckless behavior?
Yeah, I think that's what they're saying. They're also talking about drug problem. It could have been that she simply didn't have the emotional wherewithal to take it on. I thought her mother was taking responsibility for it. That's
I
what's
was
got me
never sure
confused.
about that, but they said on the news today that the granddaughter inherited it from her mother, Lisa Marie. So apparently she was the legal owner of Graceland. Elvis had left it to her. Maybe it was a case where her mother, maybe until Lisa Maria was of legal age, she acted as like a guardian,
Well,
you
according to
know,
these
to preserve
records,
it.
whoever was overseeing it did not handle the money properly, and there was a ton in back taxes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wendy, she says, "Hey, the neighbor is kicking out the boyfriend as of yesterday. You got it right. Oh, good. Happy to help."
Yeah.
Yes, she was having problems with the neighbor, but I guess the neighbor is gone now.
Yeah. Oh, Joel Tilson just said that not taxes, but Lisa Marie had a loan of 3.7 million.
Yeah, and it looks
Right.
like also some back taxes are going to come up too. That's another thing that's going to be coming out.
Yeah. Feel sorry for the granddaughter inheriting all of this mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Russell Harrison says fast food is about as high now as a decent sit-down restaurant. Well, you can make a home-cooked meal, beef stew and a salad for 4 people for under $20, and so that's a lot
Yeah.
cheaper than McDonald's. I
Oh, I
mean,
know.
grab some
Well,
potatoes and a couple of vegetables, cook it up with a couple of pieces of chicken thigh, and get one of those salads there. You'll be all right. You could do all
yeah.
of that for probably under $10 and feed 4
And a lot
people.
healthier. A lot healthier
Yeah.
too. But you know
Yeah.
me, you know, I never go to those places. I never go to McDonald's. But I was in Laughlin, Nevada a few weeks ago, and I had no choice. I had to get something for breakfast before I went on the road. So there was no choice but go to McDonald's and get an Egg McMuffin, something I had not had in like 35 years. And I was shocked that it was almost $8 for a little tiny Egg
Are
McMuffin.
you serious, man? Oh
Yeah,
my
I couldn't believe it. But
god.
that's how long it's been since I've been in a McDonald's, you know?
You know, I don't even go to restaurants anymore except when I get together with my sister and stuff. We sometimes like to get together, and we
Yeah.
always go out and get salmon, that sort of thing. It's nice.
Yeah.
But
Well, you're an
I mean,
excellent cook, also, I might add.
you've eaten my food. That's
I've
true.
had your food. Yes, you've had me over for dinner several times when you were here in
Yes.
LA, when you
Yes.
were
I miss you,
training
and I
me.
miss I found myself the other day saying, "I wanna move back to LA. I miss LA." Can you
Really?
believe it? I miss
I can't
you.
believe it. Well, I miss you too. Of course, I
I
get to
miss
see you
you.
every
I
week,
miss
but it's not the same
Tawny.
thing. Yeah.
I miss the people at the Earth Bar too as friends. I just miss the camaraderie, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
don't
we
miss
miss you too.
working, but
You were very loved
so
here.
aw, thank you, sweetie.
Yeah.
So, Wendy Burt, his name is Costello, and he worked for Trump and wanted to be Cohen's lawyer. So, getting back to the trial, um, I'm just frustrated that he isn't going to go to jail after this, that they say that he can't be reprimanded to custody. He can just say, all right, I'm guilty. So what? I'll just appeal. And then he put the people in office that I just don't like this. Let's see if we're
No.
going to get some hard. Oh, I think that first off, when do you think that they're going to come back with the verdict?
They're saying closing arguments are going to begin early next week. So I guess it's all up to the jury after that. I'm wondering if it'll go to the jury by the end of next week or even before that. And once the jury has it, who knows how long they're going to be deliberating.
I'm just checking mine. Did you check to see if he was going to be found guilty? And if so, how many counts you felt he was going to be
Oh
found
my
guilty? How many
God.
counts was he charged with on this?
Was it 4 counts? I could be wrong on that. I mean, out of what, a total of 91. I forget how many. But so the question is, what is the question again, Whimsy, for the pendulum, please?
Will Trump be found guilty?
Will Trump be found guilty? Will Trump be found guilty? Will Trump be found guilty? You know what? It's giving me a maybe. I keep checking it. It was, when I first started, it was at no, and then it went up to maybe, but I'm not getting a clear yes. What are you getting?
I'm getting a yes, but it's not going to be on all counts. You can see it goes yes.
Then maybe that's what I'm getting. Is he going to be guilty on? Okay, will he be guilty on some counts? Okay, I get a yes on that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was more of like a maybe, when I said, is he going to be convicted, like in all counts? Pendulums want to be specific, so it goes to yes on some counts. So
well, let's take a look.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like if he has 4 counts, 2 are thrown out, two convictions.
Yeah. Now I could be wrong on 4 counts. I don't know. Wait. Some people here are saying no. Like, I'm seeing 34 counts, 33 counts.
This one trial, there's 34 counts on this one trial.
For this one trial, I don't think it's that many for this one trial. But that's what some people are saying. Let's see what others have to say.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that seems too high. I think that's too high. When you factor in those 91 counts are for, other people are coming through 34 counts with this one trial.
Let's see. I'm going to just throw some cards now. They're saying that they throw a few of them out.
Okay, but even still, even a few of those counts would be enough to put him in jail, I would imagine, or at least probation at the very least. Yes, people are confirming 34 counts.
Yeah, feel free to tell me what you got.
I'm still. I go by what jumps out of the deck. Okay, the first and foremost card I got was truth. Truth is going to come to the surface in this trial. They are going to get to the bottom of things. And then the other 2 cards I got, denial and shame. Those jumped out of the deck. The first card was truth. Truth is going to be found. But I think we know who this is referring to. And the shame also, denial and shame from Donald Trump. But we're going to get to the bottom of what's been going on. It's going to come to the surface. And I can't help but think he's going to be guilty, at least on some of those charges.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm getting something also different than, well, I'm also getting the fact that he has heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not going well for him. Also, I feel like it's kind of ruined for him because his opposition is the world. So it feels to me like his opposition has everything, hopes and fears that they will hang it up. So he's definitely thinking of appealing. But look, his final outcome, King of Swords, that's police. No, this guy's going to jail. I really think they're going to incarcerate him. And I really believe that with this many police and this type of police presence and demonstrating this is how quickly I can bring this in, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think the shame ties in with heartbreak. Denial, that's him fighting all of these charges, but there's too much against him because the truth will prevail. But you're right, all those police officers there, I think they're also prepared for any kind of potential rioting from Trump supporters.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. Oh, you guys don't you think they're bringing in great questions today, our audience?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm just looking at some things here where people are saying
Fanny Willis.
Guilty. It was
Scorpio.
I love this.
Go ahead.
One of the comments here, it was said it's hilarious that one dismissed juror said if Trump's tongue was notarized, she still wouldn't believe him.
Oh boy.
It's a good line.
All right. So will Fanny Willis win re-election? Let's take a look.
Willis win re-election. I'm getting a yes.
Fanny wins. Oh, they say she already won. Yeah, she won.
Yeah, it was a clear yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they say it. They already got the results. Yeah, that's what we got, that she won, because she got the emperor, which is like the president or leadership.
But in all fairness, I didn't know that when I did the pendulum.
No, we just pull cards.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Are you optimistic with Fanny Willis? Are you optimistic that she can bring it on home and get this guy convicted, even though...
I hope so. I want to be optimistic. I want to.
Let's go ahead and let's check if there's any movement on the Florida case because of who is the judge in this case? I don't know, but let's take a look. Let's see what's going on with the Georgia case. Why is it taking so long?
Isn't the Georgia case being postponed until after the election?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. Right. So what is the question we're asking in regards to
the future of the Fanny Willis case in Georgia? Eileen Cannon is the one in Florida, I thought. Is Eileen Cannon dealing with the Florida documents case? That's different. I know it's confusing everyone. Judge McAfee. Yeah, so
I'm getting, these two cards came out, Epiphany and Judgment. Epiphany, a great realization, something coming to the light. Judgment coming through. It's kind of reminds me of the card I got before, Truth coming out. Epiphany, final judgment. What are you getting, Whimsy?
That Fanny Willis and her team uncovered questionable finances that were financing the election. That it was heartbreak over Trump regarding, he had help. He has the Six of Cups around him. But what's interesting is regarding the money, they followed the money in this conviction. So I don't know what's going on with Giuliani and everybody else that's part of this weird money schemes, but this looks to me like they followed the money, and that was ultimately what got him convicted. So foreign money has to. Why aren't we doing more about foreign money in the elections? I just don't understand.
Unless it's just too big to do anything about. Too out of control.
Oh my God. It's going to go very bad for Trump in Florida, in Georgia. Look at that.
That's what I felt with Epiphany and Judgment. Yeah.
Wow. So, yeah.
Now, Whimsy, do you think, because that is a trial that's not supposed to take place until after the election, the fact that you're getting it's going so bad for him, do you see that as maybe further confirmation Trump is definitely not going to be reelected? Because if he were president, he'd be able to stop that trial.
Supposedly. I don't think he's going to be reelected. I think that it's just a joke. I mean, the guy his mental decline is really bad right now. People that voted for him in the past say they don't want to vote for him. His support within the Republican Party is at something like 50-60%, which is devastating because that's his party. He used to be at 90-something%. It was his party. And now we're seeing that it's just not his party anymore.
No.
I think that all we have to do as Democrats is remember this is me as a Democrat. If you're an independent or a Republican, then you got to vote your conscience. Like the point is that we all vote, but I'm a Democrat, registered Democrat. And so my job as a registered Democrat is to get people to be in touch with reality, like the crazy stuff coming out of Israel right now. I mean, I've heard some crazy stuff that Joe Biden is working with Hamas to kill people. I mean, there's some crazy accusations. And we have to be able to explain to people that that's craziness. So
People have to
that's
recognize the craziness.
well, I'm afraid that we're never going to get to peace in Gaza if the same people stay in charge, because what happened with Bibi and with Netanyahu in Gaza is that now there's a concern. Oh, hello, Yogi Bear. Yes, I don't think that Trump is mentally well. Moving on to international politics. Benny Gantz is head of the Unity Party, and he's the one that wants to rebuild and bring in NATO and Saudi Arabia and try and diffuse the tension. And then he is going to be running against Netanyahu, who is Likud. So he's basically, Likud is the Republican candidate. So what they're saying, so Benny Gantz has said, if we don't get a commitment to the rebuild by June 8th, the emergency war cabinet is going to be dissolved. And they're accusing Benny of being a trickster. Well, they're accusing him of being a trickster because they think, oh, you're working with outside help, like all these people who want to do Oasis One. Well, Oasis One is a really great idea, right? People want to do a rebuild. They want to bring business in. They want to diffuse the tension, which is the exact opposite of what Netanyahu did. Netanyahu provoked tension. And I think that people are just getting confused. They're lost through the forest, through the trees. We have to remind people that it was Trump that pulled U.S. troops out of Syria. It was Trump that pulled U.S. troops out of Iraq. Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, these groups are getting the amount of power they have, the Houthi, to move about and to attack Israel because the U.S. was pulled out by Donald Trump. And I think that people assume that if you talk tough, then you must be the best person for the job. But in the case of the Middle East, Bibi Netanyahu talking tough has made him the worst person for the job because he provoked animosity. He didn't provoke unity. He didn't try and bring people together for peace. And not only did he piss people off and make their lives hell, but then turned around and pulled the U.S. troops out so that Israel didn't even have protection after the fact. And instead, everybody worshiped the golden calf that was the U.S. embassy in East Jerusalem. And I think that all we can do if we are, I can say as an Israeli American, I'm actually allowed to vote in Israel. My response would be, you've got to put emotion aside. What I would say to fellow Israelis is, please put the emotionalism. I know it's difficult, but we've got to put emotion aside and just look objectively at the facts. And Trump has been a disaster for Israel. Yeah.
Most of his foreign policies in general. I mean, he's one of the least qualified presidents we've ever had in history in that respect, and in many respects.
Yeah, him and Reagan both were not really prepared for the job, though Reagan had some experience as a governor of California. Yeah,
a little bit, but that's where Hillary Clinton would have been brilliant, former Secretary of State at the international stage.
So Joel was saying it's almost like Trump was paid by Putin. Like he had to pay Putin back. And so what did Putin want? He wanted to get the Suez Canal, control of the Suez Canal, right? So what do you have to do? You have to pull U.S. troops out, and then Hezbollah can push 2 steps forward. U.S. is 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, and say, oh, Trump is so good because he talks tough and he gave us a U.S. embassy in East Jerusalem. It's just nonsensical crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at Bibi Netanyahu. Bibi, we call him, which is buddy.
Bibi?
And by the way, yeah, it means buddy.
Is that what that means?
Yeah, like Habibi is Arabic for Habibi, my buddy, my friend, my pal, my mate. You're my mate. You're my Habibi. So yeah, so he's your BB. He's not our BB.
No, he's not. I was going to say, kind of an ironic name.
Well, the other thing is that under Netanyahu, we were attacked on October 7th, and there were horrible security breaches, possibly because of sharing information with Russia, which was sharing information with Hamas, like these types of security breaches that are linked back to Iran and Russia. So all of that is part of the Netanyahu cabinet. So people want to know. So to say that Bibi and Trump are going to be great for Israel is like the best definition of crazy is to, well, let's try this again. Did you not see what they did on October 7th? It's like, come on, man. Clearly this guy, Bibi, doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I don't know.
No.
All right. Let's take a look.
Okay, what are we asking specifically?
The future of Netanyahu in Israel, because they want to charge him now with war crimes.
Okay. I don't think it looks good for him. Based on, I had 2 cards that jumped out of my deck. I was shuffling them here. I got loss and despair. Loss and despair jumped out. What are you getting?
I'm getting more internal investigations into questionable money that he may have taken a bribe, which is what he's been accused of in the past. You can see regarding hoarding money and 2 of Pentacles back and forth with money. There could be, again, this is the same thing that happened with Trump. Was he compromised due to economic reasons? His opposition is like a war moving very, very quickly, and also ethics. So his opposition is ethics. Hopes and fears is to defend 7 of Wands, his territory and his position, and temperance. The final outcome is war. 5 of Wands, more war, and magician. So he is basically saying that he benefits from war. As long as Israel is in crisis, then it affords him the ability to stay in power.
We just had the question there, has Netanyahu made money off of this conflict?
Well, I don't think he made money off the conflict. I don't think that was there's a lot of false rumors going around. What he's being accused of is being naive about Putin and possibly sharing vital security information with Russia. He was cocky. He felt like he had this great relationship with Putin. And then the fact that Putin was linked back to the Hamas attacks, that Hamas had been meeting with Putin prior to October 7th, which is Putin's birthday. You could see the genuine shock on Netanyahu's face, because I think part of the security information he was getting was from people inside Russia, and it turned out to be false. And so he relied heavily on false information coming out of Russia. And I think that what I saw with Trump, with Netanyahu, was the look of shock when he realized that the people informing him could not be trusted, had betrayed him. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're entering into the time of Gantz and unity. I strongly encourage people to vote unity and not to be fit if you are able to vote in Israel, and not to be fooled by false stuff. I mean, number one of the 6-point plan is get rid of Hamas. It's the first thing in Gantz's 6-point plan. And of course, part of that is the rebuild. And yeah, just don't get fooled by the fake stuff coming out by the conservatives. And remember who got us into that mess. That would be my advice to fellow Israelis. Is just don't be fooled by any of it. All right. So a little bit of time left before we close. People wanted to talk. I did have a couple of questions about this, and I wanted to just give time to this.
Sure.
I hope we got to everything on the list because we had, I put people's questions out there, and then we try to get to everything. People are saying, I'm sorry, go ahead. What were you
I was going to say, I have a question here from Chris. Do you see any hope for a new regime in Iran? I know excited Iranians attempting a coup. My friend's father was a top official in the Shah's regime. It is the, I'm trying to read this here. What is the word? Can you read it, Whimsy? Takes on debt to restore civility to Iran.
Yeah, let's go ahead and put this up. So, do you see the hope for the new regime? Yeah, what I felt happened was that moderates inside the Iranian government are assassinating extremists. So one by one, the extremists are getting taken out. And I believe that it was the Iranians, moderates, that are assassinating these people. Everybody wants to blame Israel. They don't have to. Israel, it does. Stop blaming Israel, okay? The people themselves are killing their extremists. They're dancing in the streets. Yay, we killed another one. So I think that when you only have 15% or 20% of support from your country, the natives are restless, and I think that Iran should be very nervous. The other thing that people are saying about Raisi, which is not true, is, oh, he wasn't important. So the Israelis didn't do it because he's not important. The Israelis didn't do it because they need to do it because the Iranians did it for them, because they're afraid that they're going to be in World War III because of the crazy policies of Ibrahim Raisi, who was a huge supporter of Islamic Brotherhood. And he was next in line to be the Khomeini, Al-Haniman, who is 85 years old. And he was known, by the way, Ibrahim Raisi was known as the Butcher of Tehran. So people were very concerned that the Khomeini is on death's door. Maybe he's 85 years old. He could die at any time. And we're looking at another 20, 30 years if there's a regime change, if this wingnut gets in. And he's very close to getting in if the other guy dies or gets taken out. And so this idea that Israel was nobody was concerned about Raisi is absolutely absurd. Also, Raisi was meeting with and supporting Hezbollah. He met with Saudi Arabia, and I believe he threatened the Saudi Arabians. And I knew that the Saudi Arabians were not going to kill him then, but he was on borrowed time. Yeah. So then the next question is, well, how do you get rid of somebody? You make it look like an accident. You put him in a cranky, horrible helicopter that's 45 years old in horrible weather, and then drive him towards a mountain. And if that doesn't do the trick, you poison the pilot. And so if you put ricin in a person's coffee thermos and you say, hey, pilot, he's going? Okay, don't forget your thermos of coffee. And you know that it's going to take 40 minutes to get from his stomach to his heart. And you know that within 20 to 40 minutes, he's going to be in that area. All you have to do to create assassination is create the environment, give him a thermos of coffee. And while he's drinking his coffee and he's going over that mountain and he calls in and says, I don't feel so good, which is the last communication.
Yeah.
I think he had a heart
that
attack and drove into a mountain, and then he wound up, and then I saw him go into a ravine.
Yeah.
And then
But
it's
you're right
not
about
like, yeah, go ahead.
I was saying you're right about the ancient helicopter. I was reading today that Iran, because of all of the sanctions over the years, their military air force is just ancient. You know, a lot of things in disrepair, not safe to be flying. So that makes sense. That would be a very old rickety helicopter on top
Yeah,
of
so
everything else. Yeah.
yeah, so I think that it was a combination of the rickety helicopter, but I also think they poisoned the pilot. And the reason
Yeah.
I think that is because when I did remotes, I made contact with certain individuals that told me that they were going to assassinate him. And then I got freaked out and I had to call Lena Rodriguez. Lena, I've uncovered something. So what do you do in a situation like that? I gave it all to a colleague and so that she could document it, that, you know, because you got to talk to somebody.
Mhm.
And that was like 6 months ago that they had been following him and following where he was moving, race he was coming and going, and his communications with certain people were being followed, and how they were following him, how they were tapping him. And it started, I made contact with that about 5, 6 months ago. So you can imagine how stressful it is when you know someone's going to get taken out for 5, 6 months. So it was almost like when the helicopter went down, I was like, oh, thank God that's over.
Oh, yeah.
But I also think that we are, in the next 3 weeks, you're going to be seeing increasing chaos, riots, and protest in Iran, and they're holding off certain uh, ceremonies, et cetera, in Iran to crack down on protesters. But I don't think they're going to be able to totally crack down on them because the protests are happening from within the government itself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
This sounds almost like anarchy, like even a civil war.
Yes, it is a civil war, and
Yeah.
there is a way to get around it, by the way. All they have to do is give the people what they want and start sharing power with moderates, which would be a soft transition to a more moderate society. Because if they don't, all hell is going to break loose in Iran starting in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Hmm.
And that's by design. They're taking out the extremist, and then they're provoking protest in the streets of Iran, and which will spill off into the rest of the Middle East that wants secularism and to put down extremism. So we're looking at another Arab Spring this summer, but it's going to start taking off in Iran. I'll go ahead and predict 2 to 3 weeks for people. I'm usually pretty good
Mhm.
about dates for people. Yeah,
You are. You are.
yeah.
Ah.
Did you have fun?
Well, for most of the show, yes. This last part was very serious, you know, but, what can
Well,
we say?
I think, yeah, okay. And last, we want to close with what are you up to, Chuck? Before we close today, what's on your plate this week and
What's
beyond?
on my plate? I'm just working on a lot of new videos for my channel, Chuck's Captivating Chronicles. Lots of pieces on old Hollywood history. I'm shooting a lot of pieces right now, and I'm going to start loading them up on the channel throughout the week. And please like and subscribe my channel, Chuck's Captivating
Mhm.
Chronicles.
And if people would like to see you for a tarot reading, how may they contact you?
Well, yes, you can reach me, dransfieldchuck at gmail.com. It's just my name, Chuck Dransfield, backwards, one word. Or you can even shoot me a message on my YouTube channel.
And how
And
much do you charge and all of that information?
let's see, I do $60 for half an hour, 120 for a full hour.
Okay, so very reasonable. All right. Thank you, everybody. And if you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can go to the information below this video, or you can also contact Chuck. He books for
Yes,
himself, and
I
he
book
books for
for
me.
her.
You just books away. All right. Be kind to all so that
Bye,
all will be
everybody.
kind to you too. Thank you, everyone, for your love and support.
Thank
We'll
you
see you
very
next
much.
time. Bye.
See
Peace
you next
out. God
time.
bless.
Thank you.
Bye.